All right, at 3:12, we're calling the meeting to order, the F&A Committee of the Desert Healthcare District. And so we will turn it over to Director Barra to approve the agenda.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
Yes, on that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll move on to the meeting minutes of February 10th. Do you have a chance to review the minutes?
I did.
Are there any questions, comments?
No questions, no comments.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Any public?
Yes.
Sorry.
Is there a motion?
So,
I will second it. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak on this item?
no.
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. We'll move on to public comments. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak on an item that is not listed on the agenda, but is of interest to the district?
No.
So, thank you. Very good. We'll move on to the next item, which is E and the Chief Executive Officer report. And I'll turn it over to our CEO.
Thank you, Director Laura. I don't have any additional items that are not on the agenda today, but we do have our quarterly performance review for our investment plans. This would be quarter ending December 31st of 2025. And we have our investment guru, Keith Sterling, who is here with us to give us an update on what's happening in the economy.
Yep.
I go with.
Stand up so everybody can hear me. We'll start on the performance page and then we'll come back to that.
What page is that on yours, Keith?
With that,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, right here.
2.1.
Right there. All right, the top line shows the investment performance for the quarter. It was up over two. This is the retirement plan, by the way. The value is almost $5 million now. Up 2% for the quarter, but for the calendar year 2025, up 15%. Compounding at over 13% for 3 years, which is above what we would expect for the given asset allocation. Which, by the way, I should have mentioned is a 60-40 mix of stocks and bonds. That's a strategic asset allocation. I think it's a little higher right now just from portfolio drift, but and you know, compounding at almost 10% for 7 years and 8.5% for 10 years. That's exceptional. So that's good, and it's put the fund in a very good funding status. Basically, a lot of passive funds. I probably will switch out some of the small cap ETFs and use active funds eventually, and have some target funds to use. But when we moved over to PFM, I pretty much indexed a lot of stuff just to get comfortable with the new research department and the funds that were available. If there's no questions on that, which, you know, usually there's not too many questions when the numbers are really good.
The international equity, do you anticipate any problems because of what's going on in our global events?
So, good question. Not particularly, because also a large part of the international return is the value of the dollar, which was weak last year. It's generally been strong over 10 years, but last year it was on the weak side, given that, you know, basically there's people moving out of the dollar right now. And so I don't, you know, our interest rates are higher than other countries, and that usually is supportive for the dollar. Our growth rate's higher, which is supportive for the dollar. But there is a trend of people basically diversifying away from the dollar right now. And might be something to do with our debt level, which is rather high. If you want to go a little deeper in, we can quickly look at the performance of the fixed income account. That'll be in section 3. I don't know if you have the number or something.
Is that? Okay. Section 3, okay.
There, whoops.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the bottom part.
Yeah, this is a tight little, so this is the all government bonds, basically. As you can, that would be the,
Is this
yeah,
not it?
so for the quarter up 1%, 2025 up 5%. Interest rates were quite low 5 years ago, so that kind of kept the, that's when we had the quantitative easing and basically 10-year treasury at 0%. So the 5-year number is a bit constrained, but, overall, it's supposed to be conservative. It is. We just manage it within that mandate. If you go a little further up, you'll see the duration. Other way, I'm sorry.
And
Yep, that's okay. A little more. That's just the annuals. A little more.
So in
There,
annual,
right there.
in annuals, we can expect to have it lower, but so long as, over time, it's a higher return, then we should be, we're happy.
Yeah, well, there's not, this one is highly constrained in what we can do. So we can only buy government bonds and they can only be, no maturities past 5 years. And so we really more look at this, duration number. And right now the portfolio duration is 1.7.
So the reason why I'm asking this question, Keith, is because we have a new board member,
Yep.
and I want to make sure that some of these things that you're kind of taking for granted are the
Mm.
ones that we've been on the committee for a long time.
Right,
We want to make sure that
Yeah, yeah.
she's,
Clear
so
on.
go ahead and.
yes.
And I'm sorry, we didn't introduce, maybe you met.
Well, good.
Yes.
And welcome to the board. Yeah.
So thank you for explaining that we have some constraints about.
This portfolio is highly constrained. So liquidity account, it's managed really for safety.
Yeah, so it's protecting the district, the public money.
I'm curious.
So they're legal risk.
Right. And so you can see the duration, which is sort of the interest rate risk. Is pretty much in line with the benchmark at 1.8. Portfolio is 1.7. It's, hard sometimes to keep up with that because the duration of the benchmark is constant, but the duration of the portfolio shrinks every day. So up to our fixed income team, we're pushing that forward as long as we have higher interest rates, which, right now we're trying to capitalize on the fact that interest rates have gone from 0% to the 10-year treasury is close to 4.3% right now. So we want to capture as much of that as we can. Sort of lock those yields in. I think the account, if you go backwards, the other way, yeah. Other way. A little more. Other way, other way, other way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wrong direction, that's okay. I was just gonna say the portfolio is, I believe, like 75 million right now, 70, yeah, there it is, market value, 75 million, yes, so that's a good number, right, so. Okay, if we wanna go back to the colorful slides, so we go back before all of that, looks like. Right there, okay. Talk a little about the economy and the portfolio positioning, and this is really more relevant to the district's retirement plan.
That's the one we're getting rid of.
Correct.
Oh, good. I'm gonna be disappointed when you do that. For the record. Yeah. So, this is, we call it, you might wanna shrink it a little bit so you can see all the. There we go. So this is our sort of heat map of the economy, and basically it's been a policy-driven market for quite some time. Basically, since the new administration came in, they're very policy-driven. Trade relationships and tariffs were sort of in the spotlight, and they still kind of are. Supreme Court struck down the tariffs the way they were implemented, but they have now been implemented in a new way. That new way has 150 days that they can be in place that way, and then they're gonna need to get some cooperation from Congress, which will be difficult to do. 150 days from now, we're pretty close to the midterms, so I don't know how that's gonna go. So more to come on tariffs and how that might be implemented or not implemented. There is some talk about having to refund the previous tariffs because they were implemented in a way that was struck down. That sounds messy to me. Other policy, initiatives, deregulation. So corporate deregulation has, helped the economy and, helped until the most recent issue, which we'll get to next, but helped the stock market, helped the animal spirits, helped, multiple rise. The big beautiful bill, very, business friendly. Also, higher tax receipts for citizens. So, both of those are stimulative to the economy. And then the issue of deportations and how it affects the unemployment rate. So, we have had unemployment rate has been pretty stable. It's a little higher right now, 4.4%. The last number reading was not that good. It was 92,000 jobs lost. There was weather in there, so who knows if that's a good number or not. We had the cold snap.
So Keith, can I just ask you a question? You say 92,000 lost, those that would be reported from those jobs that
That's
were lost from deportation?
Well, so deportations is affecting it a little bit differently. So basically, I'm thinking about the unemployment rate. You have jobs, job demand for labor and supply of labor. So deportations and baby boomers retiring is sort of affecting the supply of labor. It's reducing the supply of labor, so that makes it easier for the unemployment rate to be good. And demand for labor, though, has also dropped. And that has sort of kept this in this 4.2 to 4.4% range. But if you look at those two numbers going down, it's kind of unusual in tandem. And, the demand for labor could be due to one, some sort of a hangover from hiring during COVID when we had, the weird market where everyone was quitting their jobs and so everyone could just get a new job. So there's some, I think there's some, companies not necessarily want to get rid of people because they had a hard time hiring them. And then on the other side, AI, so companies trying to evaluate like how is AI going to affect our workforce needs. And so there's, been a slack in demand for labor. And that slack in demand for labor has the Fed's attention, and that's why they lowered interest rates 3 times last year. And that brought down the 2-year yield. So the yield curve, which became more positively sloping from lower yields on shorter end, higher yields on longer end. So 10-year stayed roughly above 4%, while the 2-year came down quite a bit. It was, kind of 4% to 4%. It was flat across, and now it's more like 3.6% for the 2-year and 4.1 or 2% for the 10-year. So the yield curve is steep again. That should help support economic growth. We're also getting a new Fed chairman. So Kevin Warsh was nominated by Trump. However, Senator Tom Tillis has said he will not let it get out of committee until the Department of Justice is done investigating Fed Chair Powell, because he thinks that that's a bogus investigation, and he's on the committee that keeps that nomination from being voted on. So more drama to come there.
Bring back from the fan.
In terms of the stock market has done relatively well, as we saw. Even in the middle of all this, it's hanging in there pretty good. But that's basically being supported by a good economy, positive tailwinds from deregulation, AI investment and earnings driven from that, and a market multiple kind of rising with expectations for rate cuts and AI enthusiasm. And then, of course, you see there in the bottom right, political policy risks. Well, at the end of the year, it was in the yellow. Moved over from the red to the yellow. Now it's probably moving back into the red, I'd say, given we have war in Iran. So that's I don't know how that's gonna affect things, but, clearly the price of oil's gone up quite a bit. So we're gonna see that in the pump, that's gonna slow down the economy a little bit, and it's gonna make inflation sticky. Kevin Warsh, should he get through the nomination process, has said he would look past the price of oil in his thoughts about interest rates and, inflation, because, oil is a volatile commodity, and it could be $100 one day and it could be $50 another day, so I think he kind of just looks at it like that's just bumpy and noisy, and it shouldn't affect long-term monetary policy. But, yeah, it's a little bit different this time, and that it's, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, and if you look at that map, that's a tiny little space for a lot of ships to go through full of oil, so we'll have to figure that out. In terms of next slide, positioning. As you can see, this is our fairway slide, and we are hitting it right up the middle of the fairway, so we are neutral to our strategic asset allocation across all of the different asset classes. So not taking any overweighting or underweighting any particular area, and the rationale being policy uncertainty is a risk, elevated valuations, market valuations are on the higher side, and geopolitical risks heating up again, so those are on the risk side. On the, potential rewards, good economy supporting, company fundamentals, AI enthusiasm, and rate cuts from the Fed, so to kind of balance it, and we just stay in the middle right now.
And the non-US, I mean, Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
Continue on.
the non-US equities, again, that was the, you don't have any concerns about where, just going down the middle there?
So it's not, it's a non-US is a very broad term, so,
If this is fact that mentions Europe and China, and that's what kind of like,
yeah. So it's sort of like developed is sort of like Europe, and emerging markets is more Southeast Asia, South America. And yeah, we're actually relatively positive on that, so. And still undervalued compared to US stocks or lower multiples, and there has been, as I said, there's a tailwind to people diversifying away from the dollar, which helped us.
thank you.
Yep. That's all I have. Don't answer any questions.
Any questions?
Okay.
For me, because I appreciate
Yeah,
it. There
yeah.
as always.
Does staff have any concerns? No?
Question. Be interesting to see what happens with this board.
Yes. It's not that bad yet, but
What
I
do you
will
think?
say. So, we had a bad period a year ago with Liberation Day, where stock market tumbled quite a
Unless
bit.
you were buying. That's great.
And, well, right, I'm saying, the immediate aftermath of it was quite negative, and it was, but that was easy to fix. You just say, here's my list of tariffs, so I'll just change them. This one's a little bit more complicated, so, what's the out for Iran war? Well, it could be just Trump saying, oh, we've accomplished our objectives, we're done. But, will they go along with that, or it's just more wild cards in this one, so.
Do we own the stock in any defense contractors?
I'm sure we do, yes. Because we on the S&P 500, so. That'll have
But
all,
we don't have much of the S&P 500. We're mostly bond, we're boring.
well, talking about the retirement.
Yeah, but we don't really, that doesn't impact us. If you're at a
Yeah,
retirement.
the other accounts just treasury.
The one you want to invest, we can't do anything. The one that matters.
Yeah, the one that's a lot more on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Awesome as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate you making the trip out.
Yep, no worries.
All right,
Nice
Chris,
to see everybody. Nice to meet
you
you.
done? You got anything else?
Yeah, that's finished with my
Okay, Eric.
We could start on page 42, please. for a CEO report, still 100% occupied, so rent cams haven't changed since last month. But we are heading into that time of year where we'll start the budgeting and audit process. We'll just kind of make a note that we will have Mossville Hartzheim. We'll be out on site, Palm Springs office in the coming months. We can start the audit process. It's our audit firm, the financial audit. So they'll be back out, the third week of May is when we do our preliminary audit work, which focuses on the, July through April timeframe, and then they'll be back out first week of August, where they'll finish up the entire year. And that's all I have for my CAO report.
Great. Any questions, board members?
Does anyone, I know, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Anyone indicated they're not planning to renew?
Not at this point. The only lease I can think of offhand that we have upcoming isn't until November, and that's Labcorp, and
They're not going anywhere.
I don't, wouldn't anticipate them going anywhere. And then I would have to look, but a lot of them, I think next year's gonna be a light year. And I believe
I think a lot of
28
new
is when we see
leases.
They're new.
things in that, so.
It's a pretty prime location, so
Everyone wants to be
really
there.
highly sought
Well, it's
out.
right by the hospital. It's in a
Yeah.
good spot. Everything's centrally located.
Yeah,
So you
walk right across the street.
Yeah, and you have LabCorp there, so it's like everything gets done.
Okay.
And it's just the rent, it's the market rate?
Yeah.
Or it's,
A lot of them are market rate. There's been some tenants who, negotiated lower, some of the nonprofits have had lower rates on there, and each year we'll generally do a 3% or CPI, but there have been some that have been negotiated with either slightly lower rates or to not include the CPI increases, or some where they just wouldn't allow that broad. They wanted it 3% or CPI, max 5%, so. It's
They're
kind of-
good rates, but they're also very fair.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the TI is very fair. We give a lot of tenant improvement funds. Most places don't always do that, but we do what, $15 a square foot roughly.
10 to 15 is the average. 10 is probably more common. It really depends on the duration of the lease. We've gone up when they've done more like a 5-year, but if they're doing 3-year, we'll probably see 10 of them.
Any public questions?
no members of the public, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Jeff, just go. All right, we go into the financial reports. Sure. We'll take them all at once and we'll vote on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just offhand, I had about 4 leases that are coming up in 27, but longer list for 28, 29. So we're looking pretty good. All right, as far as the financials, if we could go to page 46, please. So just kind of going over in a similar fashion to what we did last month. So income right now is up approximately 1.3 million, primarily due to our investment performance, which is covered about 817,000 of that increase. Our property tax income is up about 447,000 year to date, and then the MP income is up about 81,000.
Greg, I'm sorry, Eric, on the property tax income, we have seen that continue to increase regularly. When I think back to when I first joined the board, and I think we used to get like 5 million, and now we are in 8. Is it like 8 or
Actually, it's like 11.
11 gonna go up. And the property value continue to rise.
so?
Can you imagine we had property taxes?
For the
from
whole
east side?
district, yeah. Okay, so, that year, every year you always estimate at the most recent year, what that you estimated property taxes increase?
We did.
We did a little
3%.
different this last year.
We try to be a little conservative in case we have a poor year, but
That we
we
haven't.
typically receive more than
Really, it's really hard to make it go down.
what we've,
You
well,
have to reassess the property values, like
Exactly.
the public records. Really, they just go up because most of the time, by the time they do a reassessment, the property is increased unless you have a complete market collapse and they decide to reassess all the properties, which Riverside County can't do. You're never really gonna see increased.
but we did have some downturn during the recession period, but it, took a little time to.
You have to reassess your property, then how many people actually do that?
So the reason why I brought it up is because of the fact that, like you just said, that we always underestimate it just to ensure that we're not going to be over. But I don't think, as we're going into budget, discussions in the next couple of months, like Dr. Longston, like Board Member Longston just said, that it's likely that it's gonna continue to be positive. Could we kind of look at, trying to assess how we've done it and that maybe, reassess how we should do it so that we do get closer to the estimate than what we've done? Because I think in the past, we've always been very low on estimating. So I'm just
It's hard to estimate, because you don't know properties who are gonna sell, who's gonna list on the market. If the market's hot and everybody rises in prices and they all sell, they're all gonna get reassessed that year, because California doesn't go around and reassess. So it's really hard to do unless you wanna do a detailed analysis.
Well, and part of it is based on that, and then the other part is from. Yeah, the development.
That's just houses coming online, so you don't know when they're gonna sell from the developer, right?
No, that's, I forget what it's called, but the redevelopment agency.
So
Those
you
are
don't
gone,
have,
though.
your plan then?
I know, but we still get money from them.
Really?
So I'm not sure how that,
There are some that are still, they're lifeline. So, on in the report, it has that the property tax revenues, were underestimated by 447. That's not as low as I thought it was. I thought it was like a million or 2 million or something like that. So that's not too bad. So I guess my question has no merit here. That's a reasonable.
your question always has some.
I do want to note, we did take a different methodology this last year because our prior years, we would increase it conservatively based on what we had budgeted the prior year.
Mhm.
Since we kept exceeding that, last year we took what we anticipated we'd get for the year and then added 4% to that. So it was a smaller, I guess the budget was bumped up, but we anticipate that'll have a smaller variance than.
Okay, so I'm a year behind in that then. Okay, okay, so you took care of it last year. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
4% over what we thought we would be our actuals rather than basing the increase off of what we budgeted.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you. That is a smaller margin.
let's see. And then, so we're still on page 46. Yeah, so expenses before the grants, are under budget approximately 1.1 million. It's driven primarily by direct expenses as well as professional fees expenses. So on direct expenses, some of those being lower wages and related expenses, are the primary driver in this category, with wages, health insurance, education reimbursement, year to date. The next one, if we could go back to 45. So this is our summary, but in 45, we kind of give some of the details on any of those variances that we have that are over 25,000. So we've already noted the Las Palmas Medical Plaza revenues up, primarily due to being occupied. I believe we've mentioned this before, but the budget for that was prepared to account for some potential variances or vacancies. It's generally how we've budgeted on there just in case. Overall expenses are down about 27 grand, which is a mix of over and under budget categories. We've talked about this the last several months. Plumbing repairs have been one that's been higher, but has been offset by other expense categories. The next thing I have doesn't go till the retirement protection plan report at the end, so I can answer any questions that may come up, but those are kind of the main revenue expenses and what's driving it. If not, page 68, I'm just gonna note for the retirement protection plan, current participant count, we did drop by one. We had one of our former employees that was receiving annuity who passed, and so we got notice of that. And so down to 98, we are in the process right now of trying to finalize the agreements that were in process with Nyhart, that was discussed at the last month's board meeting. So we'll provide updates as that starts moving along, but we're waiting for legal to review those agreements at this point. And that's all I had specifically on the financials today.
I do have a question on, page, that one, I think. No, not that one. This one says page 1 of 2, but it's, check register. The check register 1 of 2. The Coachella Valley Journalism Foundation, that's a $500 payment. What was that for?
Which we're looking
Sit under the
The check register.
district check register.
Page 21, 26. Says that.
Is there a number of
Yeah.
check?
Yes, it is. I see it.
Let's say under the third column, check.
Oh, it's on 6056.
There it is. Oh, you just press.
Yep, that is for the Coachella Valley Journalism Foundation Third Annual Media Hall of Fame sponsorship, which was done under the CEO discretionary.
Oh, okay. And the Peak Solutions,
Peak Solutions.
Up top, 6049. $370.
Oh, that's our, copier.
okay, very good, thank you.
No problem.
Anything else on the grant payment schedule? Anything you want to point out there?
No, it reflects the 3 million that we talked about last, month as far as the increase and prior to any grants, maybe
Yeah.
come up tomorrow for the program committee.
Perfect. Okay. Any more board member questions?
No,
Any public comments?
no public comments.
Have a motion to approve?
I'll move
financials?
approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks. Other matters, we've got 3 of them. We'll take them independently here. Is the first one an action item or just information?
The first one, if you take it in order, I will recuse myself from that one.
That one, okay.
Mhm.
Geocentric in this one.
I will also be recusing myself from that as I'm a board member of the RAP Commission.
So we
So we
we can move forward on it.
You don't want me to be a
You could-
dictator? I'm being a dictator. All right. No problem.
You can hear it and then we just take it to the board for consideration.
Okay, I'll hear it. That's fine. We'll,
So
that
we
way,
skip it for now and then do the other
Come
thing,
back.
and that will take a little break while you hear it.
sure.
Okay.
I've already heard it, but yeah, it's gonna hear it for the public area. Okay, yeah. Healthy Desert Summit,
Yes. Let's see this on
What-
page
we've
97.
discussed this a couple times. so-
Yeah, so this is just bringing back the item
District
that was
sponsorship.
information
Mhm.
at last month's meeting, so just requesting consideration, approve the draft budget. Which does include a $100,000 sponsorship from the district, as well as a $45,000 service agreement with Hawker Productions. And this will be included under the marketing budget and budgeted in next year's marketing budget as well. Can answer any questions. I think we addressed a lot of them last month.
And I think we ask this every time. Hawker, do we go out for RFP on that, or we've used them before, and we're satisfied? And I,
Yeah, we've used them all of the first 2 years, so this will be the third year.
so then we can look. Yeah, they've done a good job for us.
And they have no increased costs.
Correct, same 45,000 as last year.
I'll move approval.
Okay, yeah, good.
Second.
And in public comment?
No public comment.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Comprehensive legal services, this was a discussion item that I think got brought up last year around this time. Because we haven't gone out for an RFP on our legal services for the board. One of the reasons we tabled it last year was everything that was going on with, I think, the sale of the hospital and the voting on that. And the lawsuit, we said, hey, let's just wait and kind of table that discussion for a year, revisit it and decide. I think it's been a long time since we've gone out for legal RFP for our representation here. It's been even
10 years.
Yeah, so it's a long time.
Mhm.
And part of our policy, if I may,
Okay, it's yours.
is that we just consider it at the board level, F&A level, every 5 years with legal, our audit firm, financial firms, et cetera. So, something was discussed a year ago and was recommended by staff at a later date. It's just a bring back to get the board members' thoughts on whether we should do an RFP or not. Jeff Scott has been a legal counsel for many years. There was a break in between 2011 and 2016. We did do an RFP at that time, which was significantly lower in hourly rate, and he's got significant institutional knowledge. There are, just considerations. Don't know that age should play into it, but it's just something for us to consider in our evaluation of legal counsel as we move forward, and just consideration on whether the directors would like to do an RFP or just evaluate it at this point and not take any action with it or give any direction to move forward.
Any comments? Yeah, I was gonna look in and all on that, yeah.
I don't think that age plays into it, but number of years, it definitely does. Policy is that we will review it at 5 years. So I believe that we should put it out as an RFP and invite Jeff to respond to it as well, because I think it'll be interesting for us to be able to evaluate his services along with others and be able to determine them based on what they bring to the table, whether it's cost, experience, resources, responsiveness, all of those things. Of course, he has an advantage coming in because he is familiar with the organization and the needs. So that's something that no other law firm will have. So I think I would definitely look to have him submit something in addition, but for us to fulfill the policy requirement of doing the RFP.
Well, it says reviewed and potentially bid.
Yeah, I think it's always good to keep your contractors honest, even if you like working with them. So there's something about going out and getting a bid. It's been a decade. Lots have changed. He does a good job. He, like you said, he knows our organization well. So there's a lot of historical knowledge there. But it would be nice to see what firms come in and can compete for this, because it may be something down the road that we may need legal counsel for something else. And we know they're, they may not be appropriate for what Jeff role is, but if we continue to expand and our strategic plan and partnerships expand, we'll exceed Jeff's capability to provide us with partnership agreements and reviews. So it might be nice to see who's out there and willing to work with us.
Well, at some point too, consideration of, if there's a succession plan, we need it over time too. And I apologize for anyway.
You're good.
But I would imagine at some point there would be a consideration for a succession plan, and so we want to be prepared for that.
Yeah, it's probably more of a transition than success. It's kind of just this slow
Correct.
one out, one in. It probably fades based on.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
have an overlap.
along with
So,
that. The uptake for a new attorney is gonna be a long time.
Yeah.
So.
So that's really a part of the discussion if we, go through that process.
Yeah, I think it's something we should bring up to the board and say, hey, it's probably time to go out for an RFP. So I don't know what it takes to create that RFP, or if we can revise the one from 2016.
Yeah, no, and I've got a couple of others that I have from other districts that have done RFPs as well. So.
Yeah, okay, that'd be good. You can see what they do. We get a lot of responsiveness out of Jeff, so pretty quickly. All right. Any final committee member comments?
No.
All right, you all are dismissed, and then I'll adjourn the meeting without change.
We have the foundation to come back to.
Okay.
So don't be gone long.
We'll be back.
Just stay on the other side of the glass. Plug your ear.
Go enjoy this nice.
Andrea?
Okay, I will. I'll text you.
It's gonna be about 2 minutes. Didn't know this was an RFP thing. This is a RAP Foundation thing?
No,
RAP, oh,
Well,
What they said on the board, I didn't understand what she said.
yeah, so,
Centric is under Raft Foundation.
yeah,
It's a department.
so. So with Letty being CEO.
Yeah,
of Raft,
I didn't know that.
and Denise being, on the board of Raft, they, oversee this.
NPO
organization.
Central. And RAP funds NPO Central.
They-
Yeah,
so-
NPO Central.
George Holiday.
Oh, yeah, George.
Yeah, correct?
Sorry.
Yes, I'm the.
Representing
I'm the
Aaron.
foundation, so. Yeah,
Sorry,
so
George.
that's all right.
Thanks, forgive me.
That's okay, yeah, so for the most part, so, in our budget last year, we funded NPO Centric to the tune of almost $500,000. That we provide them, to, pay for consultants, for technical assistance, capacity building. A
Capacity
strategic,
building at what capacity?
working with organizations on things like grant writing, grant development, board development, so that they can actually grow and expand their services in the community, and provide them with the systems and structures. And that's kind of what this program is that we do with Desert Healthcare. We've done it for several years now. We've done it on a level where, because the district doesn't, the foundation doesn't really do the technical assistance. And so it's something that we do and we do well.
And just help
so
with grant writing for you guys?
No, it's for other organizations.
for other organizations that apply for grants from the healthcare
Yeah.
district.
We identify a lot of
yeah.
those organizations that need capacity building.
Yeah, and they may need help with structure and being able to have long-term sustainability. So that's part of what we do is work with them and help them develop their organization so that they can better serve the communities that they work in and put the dollars that you all provide to better use.
Yeah, and
that
that's
kind of
key,
stuff.
what you just said, is because then it helps gain confidence for us as we evaluate the nonprofits that apply for grant funding. So, NPO Centric then is helping them to establish themselves more and gain, more capacity. Growth.
We'll just go to your, to
Yeah.
the.
That's what I'm saying, I think just click on it, that'd be great.
So what was in here is also the, I'm sorry, this is your gig.
It's on other
Yeah,
matters.
You were doing NPO.
I know, but I just didn't want to take it away from Eric.
Eric likes the spotlight all the time, you know that? He really
have
likes the
The
spotlight.
history, we have the scope of
I
work.
think we talked
all-
about it last year too, that's what I was trying to refresh
Yeah,
my.
and so they're asking, we're really expanding it. We're gonna be adding some marketing components and things like that and really doing some meet the funders and we include memberships, but what
So
George is here to
There you go.
present is this, and we can see kind of like the history of this
What
collaborative.
is this?
Hmm?
What are we looking at?
oh, this is just kind of a slide.
I know. What are we going to look at that you were looking at?
Oh, she's looking at the same
That's
thing.
it.
She's
Oh, it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
She's doing the same.
Yeah, so normally Tally would be here, who is the director of NPO Centric, but she had a personal conflict today, and so she wasn't able to attend, so that's why I'm here. So
Do you have
this,
your budget? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have how your money is being spent each year?
I don't think we have it in here. We have the dollars that.
Yeah,
that
would
we
you
get
know?
from- Have the dollars that we get from you. You're talking about overall for.
I just want to see what the breakdown of expenses are and where
For
you
NPO
allocate your
Centric as
funds.
a whole, whereas for this project.
I mean, if you can allocate where our 420 goes and how the.
Yeah, so
breakdown is.
that's in the proposal, the 420,
I'd like to see it for the whole organization too, but
yeah, I don't have that with me, but right off the top of my head, it's roughly it's a little over $1 million.
For $1 million.
Yeah, well, over $1 million
Right?
and $500,000 RAP funds and NPO Centric generates its own revenues through memberships. And also for organizations that don't need financial assistance, that pay for technical assistance through us directly. And also for some of the workshops that we do, that we actually pay, that we actually charge fees for them to be able to attend. So currently what we've been on is a two-year project, and I think that was extended through December of this coming year to finalize the current one. What we're looking at doing here is extending and expanding that to another two-year project. With the expansion, what we're talking about is doing some additional marketing and joint marketing where we would co-brand with Desert Healthcare District. In the past, we've not really done a lot of branding and marketing, but this has kind of just worked on its own.
what's your main marketing channel?
Main marketing channels, they use Facebook, we use our website, we use eBlast. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out from MPO Centric. That would be the marketing for that. I think she's also gonna be, doing some additional marketing. That's probably a better question for Tally.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing some joint with our own director of marketing.
Right,
Yeah.
Right, and it'll be done in conjunction with the health.
Just wanna know
district, so
How we're
everything-
involved and what this is.
Structure, because, you know, we meet with a lot of grantees out and
That's what I wanted to know.
many grantees are just, you know, they don't submit the right documentation, or their governance is bad, or their strategic plan is off, or their funding, you know, they don't have a plan development plan. So we encourage them, then we pay for it, we pay for them to get a membership, and then they assign a consultant that will either do a complete agency assessment and then recommend what needs to be done.
The local consultants,
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
do they work out of this office?
No, they are independent contractors. I mean, they work through our office, but they're independent
Right.
contractors, that we work with that specialize in areas like, we've got, consultants that just focus strictly on strategic planning. We've got consultants that focus on, donor development, grant writing. We've got consultants and also staff as well, with me being a CPA, specializes in nonprofits. We work with them on financial development, how to develop their financial plans, how to develop budgets, all of that. This is just a sample budget of the marketing that Tally had put together. And most of this is going to be for the initial year, which is getting the marketing off the ground. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the first year budget, proposed budget. We're talking about $50,000 for the marketing campaign. We'll do a grant management workshop where we do the whole process of creating, applying for grants and executing those grant
It's open to
applications.
anybody in the public?
That's going to be open, yeah, the ideal is open to the public, but the applicants or actually grant recipients from Desert Healthcare District will get first choice primarily on that.
Good to be open up to, yeah, there's a lot of people that need help with grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they go out to build.
We do
those
that
other-
anyways. That's the rest of our
Yeah.
budget is worked on that. We're actually expanding to countywide now. We're not just doing. This will be focused on the healthcare
Yeah.
districts people, but we also have another program that's countywide that we work with the supervisors, and we go out and do the same program countywide.
Is it help with just obtaining grants from us or in general grant?
In general.
Learn how to get the federal funding, the state funding.
No, can you make this into like an E-class so it doesn't have to be, you record what you're doing? I mean, I would
Yes,
want to
and
have
we
good
do that.
input since we're funding it. I think this would be a good online E-class that a lot of people can't attend in person because they're busy, but I mean, I have interest in actually what you're doing. I won't attend in person, but
Different webinars and.
Yeah, and
it'd
we
be
do
nice to
stuff
record an
like that.
E-class, because I know I have friends that are trying to apply for grants and, you know, not related to this, but they have no idea how to do it.
And we do that with our workshops. Some workshops are in person. Some workshops are virtually completely, and then some are hybrids. So we do a combination so that we cover as many people as possible. And the ones that we actually do virtually or hybrids, those are
It'd
recorded.
be nice to have
Yeah,
access to
those
that
are-
content.
And they are, those are part of the resource package. So, MPO Centric, we offer, part of this is what we offer, we offer resources for the organization. And that's part of that resource package, is they have access to that electronically, because part of what we do with this, with the budgeting is it includes a membership with MPO Centric, which gives them access to those resources. So we provide them, documents that they can use, anything from, record retention, policies that they may need for the
Is
board.
that
to
anything
look at.
that we need to accumulate? Do we need a storage repository of information to use for our grantees? I mean, we're developing it here. We hired a consultant firm to do it. Is this something where we should capture some of this, bring it in internal? I'm not saying we want to maintain it, but have access to it internally so that we can, because we have grantees applying every single week. And it would be nice if what we're doing here, we don't have to wait for another cycle or another workshop, but I mean, they're creating content for you. Is that something that we can latch on?
Always
to?
in marketing, we can.
That's what I'm saying.
Like a
Yeah.
shared webpage or.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is part of
Well,
the
and
marketing,
maintaining
that would be the shared data with that. Because we're going to share results, we'll share the materials.
And just be able to reallocate that,
Yeah.
meaning, yeah, we spent for it here, we may have you guys revise it in the future, but if we really like what you're doing, because we've worked with you for the last few years, it would be nice to be able to say, hey, we have another set of grantees that are coming in over the next 6 months. You don't have a workshop for 6 months, but here's the content. Here's what it is. And so that's what I would like to see, because we're spending money. I don't mind spending it annually, but it's nice if it's something that we get and actually we hold on to in terms of the content. But you're not who we're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's gonna be Tally and.
That would be nice to hear
hash that
them
out.
come to the board meeting.
And then also then the biggest portion of the dollars goes into the long-term collaborative, the technical assistance. And that's where the consultants can work one-on-one with the organization. So if District Healthcare District will assign who is getting technical assistance through NPO Central. And those dollars will be
How's
spent.
that built?
We bill that usually as
Quarterly or
monthly if we have
Yeah.
services every month. But if there's ever so often, and as controller, I know there are some months we may not have any billing because there may not be anything going on with the organization, especially in the summertime when some of them kind of go dark. So we may not have billing then, but then we bill it and we'll pay back for
You
that.
guys have an audit process for all of your billing coming in from your outside consultants and things?
Yeah.
Validating hours worked and
Yeah.
that's
all of
something
that's-
you provide to us to review.
I'll have to check with Tally on that. She's the one that oversees all of that and she could probably better answer that than me.
Yeah.
And I can tell you Tally is pretty meticulous about those things and she doesn't pay for anything. She doesn't get her bang for the buck out of it. So,
Well, it'd be nice to meet her.
yeah.
Just here, why you're not.
Maybe I'll change, maybe I'll just show up.
But if this is gonna go to the board, she'll probably be the board.
Yeah, she'll be at the
Yeah.
board meeting for
These are all
sure.
things I'm prepping you for it ahead of time, just to,
Yeah.
gonna ask her.
Yeah, so she could definitely answer that. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the second year, the marketing campaign course, because we don't have the startups, will be at least half, it'll only be half of that. And we'll have the grant management workshop again, and then we'll have the technical assistance for the second year.
That offloads a lot from you.
Hmm.
It offloads a lot from you and our process,
Yeah,
because
we
we would have,
Yeah,
because we would have to do this.
we're going to have two full organizational assessments going on, one with Pegasus Writing Academy and the other one with Cathedral City Senior Center.
Yeah.
They both a mess. And they gratefully acknowledge.
The senior center.
Except where, so we're going from soup to nuts, building out their governance, their strategic plan, their fundraising, their fund development plan, I mean, pass it, I mean, everything.
Yeah, and that's part of, when we do these two, that's part of what we do is we do an analysis for the organization to see where they need the most help at. And then we come back to the healthcare district, so this is what we found, this is where the focus should be, and I'm assuming I've not been as deep in this process to say, really just look at the numbers, but I'm assuming that you guys make the approval on what sections we work on and what the
Right.
focus is.
Yeah. Good detail.
Any other questions?
No, we'll present it to the board, but. Great.
Thanks, George.
Meeting adjourned.
Sorry, George,
Let me get to
More.
I adjourned it. You can adjourn it.
Well, we can go right into the foundation.
Yep. Nice job. Just, good. It's nice to hear that. Hey.
Chris,
Why
did the two have to?
Because NPO Centric is an organization that's under the RAP Foundation, which directors are.
How'd that work out for them?
Let's sit on the board for. The support. The national planning is moving to do the same.
Yep, accepted.
He was trying to adjourn the meeting, but I'm not sure if he can do that with all.
who was?
We'll take that through.
If we need to treat her tomorrow and next day, we'll.
He's half here and half doing patient care. I don't think I want to be that patient.
Oh. Adjourn, what do you want me to
Half
do?
my brain is funny.
What do you want me to do to his heart? Adjourn?
Alright, sounds good.
Says-
Yeah, all right. Thank you. I got a big brain, Letty. Sorry to adjourn the meeting and do the phone call, and Ron, the foundation, all right. Have multi compartments. Desert Healthcare Foundation meeting, it's 3.
So you're adjourning that.
Oh, I adjourned it, I have to adjourn it to be present, you wanna vote on
I was asking that you adjourn it. I don't know if it was done
it?
for.
Meeting,
Did adjourn.
Oh, okay, I thought I misunderstood
they
that.
didn't know you weren't here, they wanted your approval.